Have you ever wondered why your Gelatinous Cube encounters feel more like a blob of jello rather than a dungeon menace? Or why your players laugh instead of scream when they see one? Let's fix that. Welcome to Monster Mechanics. In today's video, we're going to dive deep into the oozy, acidic world of the Gelatinous Cube. By the end of this video, you'll know how to perfectly use this classic monster to challenge your players and make their encounters truly exciting. Let's start things off by breaking down the Gelatinous Cube's stat block and highlight what makes this monster so unique. Right off the bat, we see the Gelatinous Cube has a very low armor class. This means it's easy to hit, but don't let that fool you into thinking that it's not dangerous. Then, with a solid amount of hit points, the cube can take quite a beating before going down. This durability allows it to persist long enough to engulf and dissolve unsuspecting adventurers. Its slow speed might seem like a drawback, but it actually adds to the suspense of it slowly creeping towards the players. A decent strength score allows the cube to deal significant damage with its pseudopod attack. Here's a major weakness: its dexterity. The cube is incredibly slow and clumsy, making it easy for players to dodge out of the way. Constitution is the cube's best stat, making it incredibly resilient to damage and giving it high hit points. Its intelligence is low, no surprises here. The cube isn't known for its brains, it acts on instinct rather than strategy. Both its wisdom and charisma stats are low, reinforcing its role as a mindless, terrifying force rather than a creature of cunning. As for condition immunities, the cube is immune to being blinded, charmed, deafened, exhausted, frightened, and prone. This makes it impervious to many control effects, so players will need to rely on raw damage to bring it down. The cube also has blind sight, which makes it blind beyond 60 feet. Now let's look at the Gelatinous Cube's actions and special abilities. Pseudopod. This melee attack has a +4 to hit and deals 10 acid damage. It's the cube's primary method of damaging adventurers outside of engulfing them. Then we have Engulf, the cube's signature move. It moves up to its speed and can enter large or smaller creature spaces. If the creature fails a DC 12 dexterity saving throw, they take 10 acid damage and are engulfed. And engulfed creatures are restrained, can't breathe, and take 21 acid damage at the start of each of the cube's turns. This is where the cube truly shines, trapping and slowly dissolving its victims. Now let's go ahead and simulate an encounter with the Gelatinous Cube on a tabletop grid. As the players cautiously move through the corridor, they fail to notice the Gelatinous Cube due to its transparency trait. The cube suddenly moves forward, engulfing the leading adventurer. The rest of the party scrambles to save their friend, dealing with the cube's resilient constitution and trying to avoid its acidic pseudopod attacks. The slow movement of the cube adds tension, as the players must decide whether to flee or fight before more members get engulfed. Now here are the top expert tips for dungeon masters on how to play the Gelatinous Cube effectively. You want to capitalize on Engulf. This is the cube's signature and most deadly ability. Position the cube where players are likely to stumble into it, like at the end of a dimly lit hallway or behind a door. Once the player is engulfed, the others will be forced to react quickly, which adds tension. Leverage the low AC. While the cube's low armor class makes it easy to hit, use this to lull players into a false sense of security. Combine the cube with other environmental hazards to weaken monsters to increase the challenge. Exploit transparency. Use the cube's transparency to set up ambushes. Place it in plain sight where the players might not notice it until it's too late. This can create a memorable moment when a player walks directly into it. And lastly, maximize the dungeon layout. Place the cube in areas that complement its abilities. Use tight spaces, dark corridors, and traps to make the encounter more challenging. Players should feel pressured and confined, amplifying the cube's threat. By following these tips, you can transform the Gelatinous Cube from a simple ooze into making it formidable and memorable as a dungeon threat. Thank you for joining us in this deep dive into the Gelatinous Cube. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe to Monster Mechanics for more D&D tips and monster breakdowns. And until next time, may your adventures be thrilling and your encounters sticky.